Well, this is a pleasure for me. I'm joined right here by a political consultant, pollster, and professor now of communication at West Point. Congratulations on that. Frank Luntz is here. Frank, it's a pleasure to have you. And that's great about do we call it an appointment to West Point? What is that?
It's more of I get the ability to teach the best students on the face of the earth. Courage, conviction, service, sacrifice. The values that we're looking for, the values that we sometimes see in the movies that you talk about, are the values that they live every single day.
Frank is here to discuss one of the movies on the New Republic's list of the 100 most significant political films of all time. It comes in at 33rd, which I thought it would be higher. This is Citizen Kane, directed by Orson Welles, a screenplay, begrudgingly, I will say co-written by Orson Welles and my grandfather, Herman Mankiewicz. But it's Orson Welles' film, there's no doubt about that. I think one reason that it comes in at 33rd, Frank, is that, and not higher, is that many people think of it as a great film, but not necessarily a political film.
And yet you can see politics of 2024 in that film. I'm watching one of the speeches delivered by Orson Welles, Charles Foster Kane, and I'm thinking, this could happen today.
The decent, ordinary citizens know that I'll do everything in my power to protect the underprivileged, the underpaid, and the underfed.
The idea of someone who says that he speaks for the working class, who says that he understands their challenges and their pain, and yet he doesn't have any idea at all because he doesn't live that life. He doesn't talk to those people. He doesn't engage those people. And I know you don't want to go political, and I don't want to go political, but the relevance right now of that film is stunning and almost frightening, with one exception. He never gets what he wants. Right. Trump did. Trump did win. Charles Foster Kane did not.
Well, you know, these aren't political segments, but we are talking about political movies, and the reason we're talking about them solely is because they are considered political movies. And I think, you know, your perspective on the 45th president is incredibly relevant. I mean, it's one reason why I wanted you here, because you're a pollster who most of your work has been associated with Republicans and Republican ideas, and you don't support Donald Trump, and you regret, if I'm given to understand correctly, that you didn't come out more forcefully earlier.
I think he should have been challenged. And I don't know, and it's not even relevant as a pollster who I support, just as it's not relevant what party Charles Foster Kane represented. It was that he was a populist.
Yeah.
Even though he's surrounded by the wealthy and powerful, his language, his words, his appeal was for the working class. And I wonder whether the work that I did 25 years ago, 30 years ago, that helped start this populist movement.
This isn't where you imagined it
This is not
went.
where I imagined it would go, just as it was not in the film. You did not see the consequence of his actions initially, but in the end, if you come at the institutions, you come at the system, you come at the establishment, which I know that so many viewers do, at some point, if you try to destroy it, you're actually destroying your own country. And that's what the film is about. It's really about the destruction, the building up, and eventually the destruction of this great individual.
Because he's a great man, Charles Foster Kane, certainly the potential to be a great man.
And he was there at the beginning to challenge the media, to challenge the press, to actually deliver a different message. But you see over time that he gets corrupted. And it's that famous line that you and I learned in political science: power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
That's right. Yeah.
You see this whole thing through the 2-hour film.
You know this as well as anybody in America. You know, you and George Lakoff understand the value of language, of words, and how they translate. You in particular, about what people respond to. You know, and I don't remember what the percentages were, but overwhelmingly we respond to emotion and not intellect. And that candidates who figure that out have an instant upper hand.
You're reaching for their heart and their soul. You eventually go to their head, but it's still about who I feel most comfortable with and who I think will impact my quality of life. So you had Kane speaking about this in how he's changing the newspaper early on in the film.
Well, they're going to get the truth in the Inquirer, quickly and simply and entertainingly, and no special interests are going to be allowed to interfere with that truth. I'll also provide them with a fighting and tireless champion of their rights as citizens and as human beings.
And it almost foreshadows what happens later on in politics. What I'm concerned about in this country, and what the movie so clearly demonstrated, there has to be someone or something that says, you're not perfect. And Kane never had anyone like that around him.
And if there was somebody around him, like Joe Cotton's character in the film, eventually that relationship is severed.
And it's severed because of him.
Right.
He destroys everything around him. He's this great
Kane, you mean, destroys everything around him. Right?
Correct. He's this great builder, and he creates this alternative universe, and then it all comes crashing down. And I hope that we can learn from the film. I hope that we don't have to do it this way, because in the end, I don't want to destroy Xanadu. I want to build Xanadu.
Let's take a look at the film. We'll come back, talk more afterwards. Frank Luntz, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Here's the movie from 1941, produced by Orson Welles, directed by Orson Welles, co-written by Welles and my grandfather, Herman Mankiewicz, and Welles leads the cast here in Citizen Kane. I'm back with Frank Luntz, who picked Citizen Kane, number 33 on the New Republic's list of the 100 most significant political films of all time. I think it's very easy to see this movie through the prism of politics. Also a very, very, as you've hinted at, a very American story.
He's a rich guy,
Yep.
a successful guy, and he loses, and he says, okay. And that's the difference between a movie made in 1941 and real life in 2024. But so I focused on Welles as a brand new newspaper owner. And I'm thinking, what would the Murdoch kids, how would they change the paper to make it more readable, to write about things that the public cared about? To me, it remains relevant to what happens today, because the goal is to reach people at their level, to write things they want to read, to do stories that they care about. That was the early form of populism, 1940s style. And I'm thinking to myself, you could take that right now, apply it to 2024, and it would fit in perfectly.
Most political movies do not capture the reality of politics because it's complicated and it doesn't lend itself necessarily to that kind of storytelling because there's not a lot of visuals sometimes. But some movies have really gotten it right. And I'd be curious, other than Kane, what films you think sort of nailed the American political landscape.
Well, this is not a straight political film, but Failsafe absolutely got it perfectly. The fear that we had and the obsession with Russia and the obsession with USSR.
It came in, by the way, it was 98th on the list. It did crack.
Just got it.
Just got in, yeah.
The American president, and how
the Michael Douglas film.
Yes, and how the White House operated. What I think is amazing is that it creates an alternative universe. And this is what your grandfather used to do through his writing, that you believe it. And you believe it for two reasons. Number one, the dialogue is so powerful and you can hear the politicians saying it. And number two is the visualization that they bring to life this individual that you know as you're looking. It's just up at the screen. It's not real. But within 5 minutes, you suspend belief and you get into it, and it's really remarkable.
So there are a lot of things I think that people watching need to know about you. First of all, you've been on the TCM cruise. I know you're a big TCM fan. We appreciate the support. You're also not just an American history buff, you're an Americana collector. Your house in LA is like a museum, I'm given to understand, filled with, I mean, you go back to the Revolutionary period, political history, and straight through into the, I imagine, deep into the 20th and 21st century.
I've got two things from Orson Welles.
Oh, you do?
One is a letter that he wrote from a hotel where he stayed in London frequently. And he talks about getting movies made and that he thought he had the funding for a film. But the single greatest piece I have is the actual coat from the scene when he lost the election. I have that at my home. It's very heavy.
Yeah.
It's full of wool. I wore it to a White House Correspondents' Dinner and regretted it because I was sweating the entire time.
I can't believe I've never been to your house in LA to see the stuff. And I know you invited me, and I'm going to come. I can't wait.
Shoot one of your shows in my house.
Sold. Frank, this has been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I really enjoy it, and thanks for being here.
Well, you've allowed me to combine my love of movies, my appreciation of politics, and my addiction to history all at one time in one place. So, dude.
That's pretty great.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Frank Luntz. Stick around. Frank's done for the night, but the political movies continue on TCM. And of course, as always, they're uncut and commercial free.
Next on TCM, Jean Dielman, then Olympia Part 1, Festival of the Nations, and later Olympia Part 2, Festival of Beauty. Double up on TCM tonight.